Mr. Doty. Let me know if the baby cries. Yeah, can you handle that? Paw at the door or something. All looks silent on the home front. Fucking hell. Let's see who we get. Hey, good to see you, bro. Good to see you. Gonna continue off. Continue off on some of the subjects we were talking about earlier. I thought it would be a bit of a treat to expand on some of the topics. I seen how many people blew up the comments for the short and the live. So yeah, yeah, I think I like that better. How the hell is everybody though? It's a Friday night. Nobody's out. Nobody's out drinking at the bars, bar hopping. Everybody's chilling at home on YouTube tonight. Most hated, what's good, bro? Veronica, Wanda Bona. Hi, bro. How you doing? Yeah, yeah. I mean, if she's gonna be deadlifting 200 pounds, damn, she's about to toss somebody for getting that bingo before she does. I love my family and friends. Are you MAGA? I would not say that. I would not say that. No. As the Madrid, I am actually. Technically, I am already rehired somewhere. Already discussed a wage. It's I'm just kind of enjoying some time. Just probably kick it for about a month before I really buckle down into something else. But yeah, where am I from? I'm from North Dakota. Knee gears and pews. Did I say that right? Shout out, my friend. Yeah, I'm from North Dakota, Veronica. See, I thought the ceiling was at your old job. This ceiling, I guess they're kind of, drop, what they call it, drop tile, drop top tile, some shit like that, drop top ceiling. You turn into a coyote in a full moon. I do not. I do not. Drop down. Yeah, that's what it is, David. Good to see you, bro. Cannabis is legal. Yeah, I mean, it depends where you're at. Some places it's recreational, some places strictly medical, obviously. Um, Me, I'm just strictly don't really care. I'm gonna smoke it regardless of what it's at, what it is, where I'm at. It's just how I've always been. It is at the very least medical here, and I have more than well documented to have a few different medical issues. So the way I've always kind of chalked it up is I could get medically cleared for it. I just haven't. So I smoke it anyway because I know I could get cleared for it, but it's all, yeah, besides the point. Yeah, David, I smoked weed for a large portion of my life, and it wasn't until I ventured away from weed and started, becoming gluttonous and other high types, right? There's other different types of highs out there. And weed is kind of like a moderate. It's like I mean, you can smoke a lot of weed, but for the most part, I mean, you got to be okay with moderation almost in every aspect. You're only high for so long. You can only stand to be that high for so long. It's going to either knock you out, it's going to burn you out, it's going to make you eat. You're going to come down. But for the most part, I mean, it's just not something that, I don't know. I guess it's harmless to do too much of it, right? Because you're just going to go to sleep or you're going to eat yourself into a stupor. You know, you're not out there trying to rob people and break into houses and just, steal people's shit. But greetings from Michigan. Good to see you. Good to see you. Kosher weed. I have no idea about that. Light it, don't hide it. Yeah, David, that's exactly, I literally do feel like I know I could go get cleared for it. And I just don't, because it's a waste. Scante vibes. We are him, he is us. Yeah, most hated. As long as you know somebody with it, right? One will never have a weed induced schizophrenic episode. Yeah, I mean, I know I haven't. I know that they used to, there are some instances where weed is too strong for some people. I was never one of them. I was never one of them. My mother is the first person who got me high on weed. She called me into her room one day, and I remember she called me. She called me into the room, and she was like, she was holding up a bag of weed, and she goes, "Do you know what this is?" And I literally thought I was in trouble. Like I thought that she was confronting me, or she thought that I had been fucking with her weed or whatever. Like I knew what it was. I'm like 8 years old, so I've seen it around. I've smelt it. I've seen them roll joints. I've seen them the bags sitting on the coffee table the next morning when I wake up and everyone's passed out and I'm making a bowl of cereal to watch cartoons, like I know what it is. So when she's like, "Have you seen?" Or she goes, "Do you know what this is?" I thought I was in trouble. So I was like, "No, no, I don't know what it is." And she's like, "Are you sure?" I was like, "Yeah." I'm like doubling down now. It's too late. It's either it's hell or high water at this point. I'm like, "No, I don't know what it is." And she was like, "You've never seen any of your friends with it, or your friends' parents? They don't have it." And so I'm like, "Nah." I'm like, "For sure." I'm like, "Nah, no, yeah, I'm not even lying about that. Like, no, none of my other parents that I know of smoke this or do it in front of us, the kids." There was a lot that I kind of thought was normal, and it really wasn't. And I didn't know that for a long time. So I tell her, I'm like, "No, I don't know what it is. I haven't seen it around. There's nobody that I know that has it." And she goes, "Well, look." She's like, "Sit down." And at this point, I realize I'm not in trouble. It's kind of a rare thing. She's buzzed. She's kind of like, she's all right. She's doable, right? She's coherent enough to be my mom, but she's a little bit more of my buddy than she is my mom. That's where she's at in her drinking phase. You know what I'm saying? And you gotta kind of know what it's like to grow up with a drunk parent to be able to quantify that on any kind of a spectrum. But they have a tendency of wanting to be your friend more than they are your parent, and that's the issue. And that was the issue at this point in time as well, is because she was like, "Well, I know that you and your friends are gonna get all squirrely, and you guys are gonna dare each other to try it." She's like, "So I just want to be the first one to show you what it's about." And I'm like, "Okay, yeah, whatever, And I'm not like, and nowhere at any point in time as this is happening do I think this is wrong. I shouldn't be doing this. My mom is bogus. You know what I mean? Like, I'm more excited that I'm finally allowed to do something that I see all the grown-ups doing, because I actually wasn't interested in drinking. I tried beer, right? I mean, there's beer cans sitting out there, the next morning and stuff, and you curious, right? You're fucking curious little shit kid, and you're gonna grab something that you're not supposed to, and you're gonna take a swig, and that shit tastes like shit. I really didn't ever understand the appeal of alcohol. It tasted horrendous, and I didn't like it, and I just wasn't gonna force myself to continue drinking it in the hopes that it starts to feel good at some point. I didn't understand it, right? As a kid, I didn't understand it. But weed, I can understand, right? Weed, I took a hit. She had packed a bowl, and I always remember it was this little marble, white marble bowl that she had. And she packed the bowl. She told me to hit it. I hit it. I held it, and she hit it a couple times. And we're both sitting there. It was like 2 or 3 in the afternoon, and she's got the fucking she's got, what do they call it again? Soap operas, right? Young and the Restless, As the World Turns, Days of Our Lives, All My Children. Like fucking all these are playing. They just play all afternoon into the evening. I'm not even sure, but I know they were all afternoon, right? And she's got this shit playing, and I'm sitting there, I'm just like into it, right? I'm just like, I'm into this shit. I'm watching, I'm listening to everything, right? And everything is just super intense to me. And I'm just like so into the storyline. This shit just has me completely fucking enraptured. And I'm like smacking my lips, and I realize I'm kind of hungry. So I look over at my mom, and I'm like, "Hey, mom." She looks over at me, and I'm like, "Hey, we got any like some chips and dip or something?" And boy, she busted out fucking laughing so goddamn hard. Like, she literally just started howling and laughing her fucking ass off because I had the munchies. And that was hilarious to her for some reason. And for whatever reason, I got to laughing because she was laughing. And I mean, it was a good time, to be honest. For my first experience, it was funny. It was, yeah, it was kind of a bonding experience between mother and son. As fucked up as that sounds, right? 8 years old and you're bonding with your fucking mother over some drug usage. But this was, what, mid 90s? Literally, yeah, like 93, 94. So I have been smoking weed since a very young age, and it's just never really been an issue for me. It wasn't until I wandered away from it, I started wanting more and wanting to get higher, different kind of higher, a more intense high that would last longer, that was, you know, made other things more appealing to you, and ultimately just more money, right? One of the things that I found funny that I used to convince myself to make the switch from full time weed dealing to the meth game was that you would have a whole hand. two handfuls of weed in a bag, and that's at very tops is worth $200 tops, right? I mean, if you sold every gram of it for absolute max value, you're literally going to get $200 for an ounce of weed, right? And then you had this little Ziploc bag that had just a little bit of powder along the bottom, and that was $200. So it was like, in one hand, you had a lot of a product, you had to move a lot of it to equal the same amount of something that you could hide in anywheres on your body and would go like that. And I mean, and that would happen multiple times a night, right? Whereas if you're slinging eighths and quarters and nickels and whatever to the common folk, right? People that regularly buy weed, it takes about a week for you to disperse of an ounce. So you have slow money, but for show money, and then you got fast money, and probably going to be your last money, because the risk and reward between the two do balance out. You got everyday people that can hold a job, a 9 to 5, as your client base, opposed to a client base that will rob you fucking blind as soon as you turn your back, and then turn around and try to buy from you with your own money. I don't even know what you guys got me started on to Stephen Kelly. Yeah, your high can level out. Yeah. I mean, Andy, I do quite a bit. I get that there's some people that it does that too, but like I do quite a bit, and I do it high as shit. I appreciate that, David. Yeah, meth-induced schizophrenia is very easy to do. It's kind of expected. I mean, I think people pay good money for that. As a matter of fact, it's kind of a part of the experience is to get all fucking tweaked out and not sleep and think the feds are after you, and aliens are fucking in the trees and zapping you with little microwave guns and all that shit, and then you go to sleep and you wake up and all that shit disappears. I think that's kind of just a part of the experience. I'm sorry to hear that, Veronica. That does make things a bit harder to enjoy. Yeah. Show my cannabis. I mean, it's it's a pen. Yeah, David. I hear that. His sweat lodge. I'm pretty I'm pretty religious, right? I'm pretty spiritual. I speak to the creator pretty much on a daily basis and ask him to give me a hand, man. Give me strength, take pity on me, have patience with me, all that shit, right? You got to. You got to have something to help strengthen the spine when you got a lot on your plate, a lot of people depending on you. That movie guy, Danny. Damn firewater. Yeah, hit that like button, y'all. Hit that like button, especially if you think it's Danny Treyu. Jordan, yeah, it's a trippy story. I had a very, very messed up childhood. Um, and me and my mom have been through a lot. We've been through a lot as a mother and son relationship. She lost custody of me when I was 10 years old, like permanent custody, completely lost custody of me when I was 10 years old. She went and found my father, who didn't know he had a son when I was 10. And he came and immediately got me out of the system, right? And because of the way that I was raised with her, which was pretty much non existent, right? And then getting put under his roof, under his rule, his law, it was very hard. It was a bit of a culture shock to go from somebody who drank and did drugs on a daily basis and didn't give a fuck what you did, to somebody who is like, "No, you're gonna do what the fuck I say you're gonna do because I'm your father." you know, and I'm like, "Oh, okay, yeah, let's do that. Let's play that game." And I won, right? I won because ultimately my dad saw that, I'd already gotten my ass beat multiple ways for a while. And I remember he did whack me one time. I remember what it was, but I came into the house. I think I was grounded. I walked out anyway. So when I came back to the house, it's like you as a parent who just kind of randomly got dropped a fucking a native teenager, you have to just run with it, I guess, right? And I came into the house and he was like, "Hey, well, what the hell you doing? You're grounded. Don't walk out, and don't disrespect us like that." And blah 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 blah. And I said something slick to him, and I think I don't remember what he did. I think he grabbed me, he pushed me against the door, and then he like open hand smacked me across the mouth, right? And when he did that, I didn't react the way he thought I would react. I immediately like looked right back at him and I said, "Go ahead." I said, "Hit me again. I've been beat all my life. What's another ass whooping?" And it kind of shocked him. It did. It shocked him. That was probably a little deeper than he expected to hear from a teenager. And he stepped back and he had his own little revelation at that point, and he said, "You know what?" He goes, "You're absolutely right." He goes, "If it hasn't helped yet, it's not going to now." And he turned around and he walked away from me. And once I saw that, then it was just open season, because I knew if I was getting my ass whooped for literally nothing as a kid, it's like it kind of ruins anybody else's task of teaching you cause and effect, because now if nobody is willing to meet that threshold every time, and it's like how do you do that? You know what I mean? Like, how do you, if a dog only knows getting their ass whooped and fighting for every meal, then how do you suddenly teach them that that's not right? That's not okay, because it doesn't know better. It is a task, right? And it's not an easy task. It's not a task everyone's going to be able to do. And I didn't make it easy on him, and because of that, I did whatever the fuck I wanted while on his watch, and I racked up a lot of charges under his under his custodianship. And so the state of North Dakota turned around and basically like I don't know what they call it. They didn't indict him, what's the word for it? They petitioned, right? They petitioned for custody of me from my father, not because he did anything wrong. He just couldn't keep me from racking up these fucking charges. I mean, what can you do? Especially when I'm walking out, I'm leaving, and he can't chase me down. He's got to go to work. He's got to go and hold down a job. He's got to support, pay bills, and all that stuff. And I'm running off and I'm doing whatever the fuck I want. I'm getting caught. I'm getting brought back to the house drunk and, with stolen property and all this other dumb shit, and it's just like, it's a hell of a thing. So I didn't smoke them on until age 16, quit alcohol for 20 years. That's good. Yeah, that's good. Most hated. Yep, yep. IWS, good to see you. Much respect to Wisconsin. There are aliens, yeah. Joe Seg, yeah, you ain't lying, man. You could be buying something else for $10, and there's a little bit of fent in there that'll take you to the cemetery. you know, I'm almost positive I touched. I think it was either some money. This was like a year and a half ago or something like that, right? I don't know. I did something. I did something at some point in time. All I know is I got like violently, I guess you could say high, right? I like got like violently high a little too fast. Like it went straight up to the fucking hanging over and throwing up, wanting to throw up and just passing out. And that shit almost took me out. I think the only fact that I have a huge tolerance fucking saved me from whatever that was, but I'm almost positive it had it had to have been like some money that I touched because I tattoo and I get some suspicious rolled up $1 bills all the time, shit like that. Like you really can't be fucking too careful nowadays to like seriously. I mean, yeah, you can make a Ouija board IWS. You can make your own Ouija board, and it is you can pretty much make it anything out of anything, including two branch sticks, and then cross them over like a fucking cross. It's the intent, right? That's how that type of shit works with divination and witchcraft and just dark arts, or even good, even good medicine. It's about the intent, and so it don't take much to commune with the spirits. It really is just about knowing what to say. Big J Prophet says Cherokee. Definitely not me. I'm full blood Sioux. Yeah, I mean, life in the res for some reservations got some money, but most of the time, um, reservations are rough, rough. They're rough lives. Loyalty, what's good, bro? Dave Beaudry, good to see you. He too much in common, huh? Yeah, most hated. I'm pretty sure I know that Lockwood name too from state prison. But yeah, how many people we got? We got quite a bit of people in here. So I wanted to continue on about the I'm gonna catch up in the comments here, and then I'm gonna start talking about the Ouija board and just the whole purpose of that, right? Why that came about, why I felt like, why I got that idea to, speckle bits of my blood by a self-proclaimed, dark fucking priest to contact whatever was there on the night of Halloween, because there is a method to the madness. I promise you that. Yeah, some fam in North Dakota. Yeah, I believe it. David Beaudry, I am not Chippewa. I'm Sioux. Sturgis is on soon. Yes, it is. Yep, it's in how you use it. One's intent could be strong than others' intent. Yep, yep. So the real aura monster. What is Gooman? I have no idea what that is, bud. Dave, I get told that quite a bit, which is our very real loyalty. My mom was one of them. We're caught up on the comments. All right, so my mom convinced me as a 40-year-old man who can look back on what I have seen and what I remember and what I have since learned about in my own experience in this journey that we call life. Um, I know that she opened some doors based on some of the stories that she told me many times throughout the night. Right, she'd get drunk, she'd come and she'd wake me up middle of the night on a school night, and she would regale me with tales and a lot of things that I had no business knowing about. I was too young to even understand. And yeah, some of it I was 18, 19, 20 years old when I would remember some of the things that she would have told me, and I would be like, "Damn, that's crazy. I remember that. That's what she meant." you know? But what happened was there's some times that she would hear things that weren't there, and I have to wonder, like we had this attic, and I remember one time she woke me up, right? And I was asleep, was crashed out, everybody left. It was always the same it was always the same thing. They would all party all night, and then everybody would take off. And then once everybody would leave and it was just me and her, and I'd already be asleep, once everybody left and she was by herself, and the music would still be blaring, and there'd be fucking full ashtrays everywhere and beer cans everywhere and stuff, and it's like a ghost town, right? I get woken up into that, right? And I remember one time she was like, "Hey," she used to always tell me. She used to always tell me I was the man of the house, right? She was a single parent, so she used to always try to teach me what it was like to be a man. And she used to tell me that I was the man of the house, that I had the power to kick people out if I didn't like them. I would tell her that they had to leave, and she used to make me do that. She used to actually make me kick people out and stuff. Yeah, I used to always think that that was just kind of like a skit, right? They just, oh yeah, we're just gonna act like he's in charge and stuff or whatever. But I don't know. But it wasn't uncommon for her to wake me up in the middle of the night and be like, "Hey, tell these people they gotta go. Tell them they gotta go. Tell them this is your house. You don't want them here anymore. You know, should be all drunk and shit." And if you know what it's like to live with like a drunk parent, you humor them, right? One second. Yeah, you know what it's like to have a live with an alcoholic parent. You humor them. You it's just like a survival mechanism, right? Because as soon as you go against them, it could turn violent, right? As soon as you challenge whatever it is that they think is going on, you're an enemy, right? So she wakes me up, right? She's like, "Hey, there's some people upstairs." She's like, "You gotta, she's like, you gotta tell them it's time to leave. Time to go home." She's like, "Tell them you want them to leave." So I get up. I'm like, all right, whatever, I jump up and I'm rubbing snot out of my eye and I'm walking down the hallway and I turn towards the attic because she said that they were up there and that's where everybody was partying. And so I turn, we have an attic door that's right there on the off to the side of the hallway right before you enter the bathroom. And it's also like right across the hallway from where her bedroom is. We pass by the attic every day, don't even look twice at it, right? Because it's always creeped me out, to be honest with you. And it's super hot up there. There's no AC, and it's always summertime. And so the attic was always super fucking hot. I never understood why they wanted to go up there and drink and, whatever. They're probably fucking up there, to be honest. Who knows, I didn't go up there, but I go up to the fucking attic door and I open it and I look up and the attic steps are so goddamn steep that like you'll bump your fucking knee trying to lift your leg up to go up the steps. Like you got to almost like walk on all fours going up these steps. So I'm standing at the foot of the stairs, right? And I got the door open and I look up and it is completely pitch fucking black up there. I don't see shit. I don't hear nobody. There's no lights on up there. There's nothing, right? And I'm sitting there, I'm looking up there, and I turn around and I look at back at my mom, and she's standing far back. She's got her arms crossed and she's tapping her leg. And I look back at her and I'm like, are you sure there's people up there? And she was like, "Tell him." She's like, "Tell him," right? And she started yelling. She just got loud out of nowhere, right? Made me fucking jump. So I'm like, "Holy fuck." So I turn around and I'm like, "Well, maybe I'm thinking to myself, maybe there is. Maybe there are people really up there. Maybe they just got the light off. They're just passed out or whatever." So I'm like, I'm like all shaking of shit. I'm like, my voice is all cracking, and I'm like, hey, you guys, it's time for you guys to go, you know. And I'm barely getting this off because I don't think there's anybody actually up there. And she fucking cracks the whip behind me. She's like, louder. She's like, tell them they gotta go. This is your house, And I'm like, oh shit. She's like, get your ass up there. And so I start going up the stairs, right? And I'm crawling up the fucking stairs, and my head is now, it's just like coming up over like the level with the floor. And like I said, it's so black. It's just so fucking completely black up there, and it's so thick that I'm like so wigged out by it. I feel like something is gonna reach out and touch me, and it did feel like there was something up here, right? And I'm standing there, and it's hot. It's super quiet. It's thick. It's like it's a heavy atmosphere, and she's down there at the bottom, peeking around the corner up at me. And I turn around, I'm like, "Mom, there's nobody up here." And she's like, "You don't hear them?" And I'm sitting there and I'm listening, right? And I'm like, there's nobody up here. She's like, "Listen." She's like, "Listen. You don't hear that right there?" And I'm listening and I'm like, "Man, what if she does hear something?" You know? And like I can't hear it, I can't see it, I can't sense it, but like it's real to her, right? And she's obviously convinced that there's something up here. There's something up here that I'm missing it. I'm missing it or something. I don't know. And so she's like, "Tell them they gotta leave." And I'm like, "All right, you guys gotta go. I'm fucking crashing out for the night. I gotta go to school morning. Bye." I turn around and she was like, "Come on, come on, come on, come on." And I'm like, that set it off, right? When she started doing that, I felt like she could see something fucking behind me. And I start all but sliding down the stairs at like Mach 1 speed. I'm like, "Dude, dude, 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 dude." I'm coming down and she's standing there with the door. And as soon as I hit the bottom and I dive out the way, she slams the door and puts her whole body against it and slides down to the fucking bottom laughing. And I'm like, my heart is fucking going, I don't know what just happened. I just got woken up in the middle of the fucking night to tell some people, some fucking phantoms in the attic that only she could hear, that they had to leave because I had school in the fucking morning. Like, this, I had like just countless scenarios like this where I thought my mom was crazy, you know, but after what I've learned about witchcraft, Ouija boards, dark arts, good medicine, bad medicine, you know, um, what is it called? The law of three, which is I think it's a native law as well as witchcraft law, right? If you wish bad upon somebody, you're gonna get that back on you threefold or quadruple fold or something like that. I'm not sure what it is. But so yeah, and I've told I just told the story recently about how she figured out how to wish bad on people, and she got one of these girls in this boarding school's eye to pop out, right? Because she took her hair and made an offering, and basically just wished bad on her and offered the hair, burnt it or whatever she did. I'm not sure, but it wasn't good. And I honestly believe that she, like I said, she opened some doors and she dabbled in some things that she didn't understand, that she couldn't control, that she used for her own purposes, but wasn't able to complete the contract or whatever it is. And I think that some things hung around her. I think they followed her. I think she had attachments. And yeah, hey, yeah, I have no doubt about that. I have no doubts whatsoever that she was wasn't able to astral project. I told you guys about that earlier, about how she was able to tell me about some shit that me and my friends were doing. Yeah, hair is definitely a native thing. Let me see what we got going on here. Let me catch up on comments. Rainer Clips. I good to see you. Oh yeah, Rainer. I'm an artist. I'm an artist, and that is always translated to pretty much all my life. Anytime I've wandered away from my talent, my natural talent, something happens that forces me to recognize that my talent will provide. And like I turned my back on it. I was doing the 9 to 5 job, and I had stopped tattooing, stopped drawing, stopped creating. Now I have nothing but time to start doing that again. So last night you had a last night you had a dream of a witch. You went into a room and she sensed I felt compassion for her and she looked at me and said, "If you come back, you will die." Damn, that's worrisome. Yeah, it's tripped out. Yeah, it's tripped out, Joe Sig. No, Rainer, I'm saying that I know how. All right, I was saying that I have the knowledge. I was taught the knowledge a long time ago of how many apple seeds it would take to that and like it's a process. I'm not obviously going to specify on live stream, but that and some like salt water and some other steps, it makes it into arsenic. I don't know, some type of arsenic form of poison, and that's about as far as I'm going to go into it. But I did get somebody some of it, and it got him sick. It got him sick, and I knew that any more, twice as much, it would have did exactly what it was intended to do. That was in prison. Jordan did use this says Cap. What's up, Cool Out? Res Dog. What's up, bro? How you doing? Yeah, most hated. That's exactly it. School naps. Good to see you. Yup. Got an hour left to go home. That's what's up. Hot as hell here. I've got two apple trees growing from seed. Hey, Yoho, how would you protect yourself against someone trying to perform a ritual against you? That is tough. That is tough. In most cases, I think you gotta have somebody on your own home team, your own medicine man that can say some prayers for you. It helps to know who might have ill intentions for you. They got to kind of know what general direction it's coming from. It's not something I've ever really had to deal with, so I don't know. Yeah, about stopping art. Smudge with sage, cedar, and squeegrass. Yeah, I mean that's to cleanse yourself here and now, but that does nothing for preemptively, you know, like stopping curses that are aimed at a motherfucker. Han Blitz. That's really. I did not know that. Yep. Georgina Williams, Walking Your Values. Big J Profit. Let's hear about the Ouija board. Yeah, yeah. I was catching up on comments and then I was coming back to that. Imagine being in the hole for a long period of time and not being able to walk out. You would evoke your spirits, wouldn't you? Probably. Antonio Graves, keep going. All right, so like I was saying, my mom, Ma Dukes, she has some shit going on. Right? She had some shit going on. And I seen it. I watched it torment her. I thought she was just crazy for a long time. Then she told me about a Ouija board that her and her friends got a hold of one night. And they played with it a couple times. They couldn't get it to, do anything. They were just fucking with each other, making it move, and just goofing off, stuff like that. Not every time, not every time. Like the book I had, the book I had. There's plenty of times that I opened it randomly, wrote down the two letters it showed me, and I did this numerous times. It never spelled nothing, even by accident, you know, even a 2 or 3 letter word by accident, it never spells anything. It's just gibberish. And sometimes, same with Ouija boards. Not, somebody's not always going to answer. It's not a guaranteed science kind of thing. But one night, something did show up, and she said that one of her friends got drug across the floor and up the wall and held upside down against the wall. That's what she said. That's what she told me. I must have been. I mean, I heard that story a couple times, throughout the years of growing up by her. But yeah, she told me that happened, and they didn't want nothing to do with the Ouija board after that. They got rid of it. They threw it away, put it in the trash. And a couple days later, they found it. It was back downstairs where they originally had it, where it was originally played with, was downstairs in like this little play area for the kids. And so they take it back outside, they throw it away again. Or I think they took it somewhere. They took it to another trash can for like a block or two away or something like that, right? They took it somewhere else. They thought it was odd that it would show up, but they took it somewhere else and it showed up again. And when it showed up the second time, they figured somebody in the house was fucking with them, right? One of their uncles, one of the aunts, one of the kids, somebody was being stupid. So they're like, okay, we'll just burn it. We'll just burn it right here, right now. So they took it outside. They put it inside of a trash can. They took some lighter fluid. They dumped all this lighter fluid on this fucking Ouija board, and they started on fire. And my mom said she was standing there and she was like, this motherfucker's not burning. It's not blackening. It's not charring. It's not being consumed. And so it ended up going out. So they went and they grabbed like a bunch of more gasoline. They stacked a bunch of shit in there with it. They started it on fire again. And she said this time, while she was staring at the board that was in the flames, she said she thought she could see these little figures dancing on the board. They were made out of fire. She said that they were just little beings that made out of fire. They were dancing in a circle on the board. And I always thought that was an odd thing to remember. Like, I mean, for me to remember, like, she had mentioned it, and I've just always remembered it. I've never forgotten it, and I've never seen it either. I've never seen that in like a horror movie. I've never heard somebody else say that. I've heard people say they burned it and it wouldn't burn. Irving, good to see you. Kenley, good to see you too. Kick it right out the house. Yeah. So by now they're tripped out by this thing. This thing is not, it's not, they can't get rid of it. They can't throw it away. They can't destroy it. It won't burn. They're taking it off premises. It's showing up back downstairs. And finally somebody's friends, like a friend of a friend, came over and they seen the Ouija board. And they're like, "Oh, cool. This is really, I've always wanted one of these." They're like, "Oh yeah, you want it? Go ahead, take it. It's all yours." They took it and never saw it again. Yeah. So she told me about that, right? She told me about her experience with the Ouija board and how for a long time it was just kind of funny, prank each other with it and all that stuff until something really showed up. It really showed up and it really made itself known and it scared them. It scared the bejesus out of all of them. Now, on some matters that are completely unrelated to my mother, my father, let me see, let me catch up on comments here real quick. Yeah, good to see you, Kenley. Faded Cruise, do a kickflip. Oh, where is my board? Now that you say that. But yeah, Kenley, yeah, it was. They did try to burn it, and they said that motherfucker would not burn. I'm doing well, Irvings. I'm glad to see you in the live stream. Hey, yo ho says I watched my light switch flip in front of my the other day. It was one of the weirdest things I've ever had happen, and I have zero explanation. Yeah, that'll fuck you up. That'll fuck you up if you see some shit like that once in a while. Yeah, I mean that's definitely pay attention, man. Anytime your intuition tells you something you can't explain, it's like very specific like that, like you're being watched from that direction, specifically right around that corner. There's probably a reason you feel like that. Yeah, I mean, Big J, the eight balls, the same thing. They hold the same power. You don't know who you're channeling, which is why I don't fuck with the AI. You don't know who you're channeling. You don't know who's giving you this info. Almost wiped out. Almost wiped out in some fucking sandals. But there's an exorcist on YouTube talks about the manic stuff going on with those Ouija boards. Yeah. Your stories are endless. Great to catch another live. Heel flip. Let's see one. Hell no. I gotta get some real shoes on. But anyways, to continue, because we're about halfway. We're about halfway here. All right. So Insidious. Insidious wigs me out. Insidious wigs me the fuck out. Because I feel like I feel like that's true for me to some degree. My dad is a I'm not going to say he's a medicine man. He's not. I think he's probably pretty close. you know, he's probably pretty close to what we would consider a medicine man in this day and age. But at the time, he was just a pipe carrier. Um, goes to powwows, he dances. Um, he does run sweat lodges. Like I said, he's a pipe carrier, so he does run sweat lodges. And he goes, for those of you that are, native, or my Native American fans out there, a humbletia. Now, humbletia is Lakota for Vision Quest. Okay, and that is something that not everybody does. You can be Native American and not practice your spirituality, right? Well, I think a lot of us probably do. But you can be Native American and practice your spirituality, and you know go to sweat lodges, but not the powwows. Or you can do the sweat lodges and the powwows, but not do sun dances. You know, or you could do sweat lodges, powwows, sun dances, but you don't do vision quests. You know what I mean? Like there's always more and more that can be done. And for my father, he does all of it, including the vision quests. Now, if you're going to do a vision quest, one day, one night, maybe even one day, one night, but that's sometimes that's all some people do. There was a point in time, not to be like on some my dad can beat up your dad type shit, but there was a point in time where my dad would go for 4 days and 4 nights on the hill. No food, no water, no nothing to protect him from the elements, like out there in the wilderness, you know, fucking well, whatever the weather is, whatever wild animals come near him, like it's the real deal. And he hasn't always made it. It's a scary thing to go on something like a vision quest, because just because you show up, and you're buck ass with your fucking your brand new buffalo robe on, you're not going to just be given some, a vision. you know like, you don't just go through the motions, and they show you something. It doesn't work like that. You have to you have to suffer. You have to sacrifice something. You have to prove that you are worthy, that you are ready, that you are willing. And their job is to their job is to scare you away. Their job, I'm speaking like from like the spirit's perspective, they have to test you. They have to make you want to leave, you know, like this. It's a test. And I've seen the ways that they tested my father. And I've seen what happens, when they don't stay where they're supposed to. They get up and they walk because they're taken out like 4 or 5 miles away from the nearest road. And they come walking back, and they got, cactus thorns and all types of crazy shit stuck in the bottom of their foot. My stepmom spent hours going through his feet and picking out all the different things that he had to walk on to get home, because he wasn't going to stay where he was at. He got spooked off. He got spooked off. And that's like an extremely, like, he's an extremely powerful man. Like, spiritually, he's as strong as I've ever seen. But something that can shake him worries me. I've never been on a vision quest, and quite honestly, I don't know if I'll ever go. But as a result of what my dad has done, he has accumulated a lot of things that make his house a a sanctuary, right, for powerful objects. powerful medicine, um, things that he has been blessed with, you know, um, just good medicine, right? Um, and as a result of that, he had to keep it just strictly real with me one day. And he said, "Look, I have a lot of things here, a lot of things here that would be very bad for you if you come back to this house drunk, high, gack the fuck out, whatever it is." He goes, "I honestly would rather you just stay wherever the fuck you are, go to your friend's house, sober up." Says, "Don't come home like that. Don't come into this house fucked up like that." He said, it's just not going to be good." And I'm like, what are what are these spirits gonna do? Are they gonna kick my ass? What are they gonna fucking give me a wet willy on my fucking while I'm crawling in through the window? Like, what are they gonna do? Whatever. What the fuck ever, dude. Shut the fuck up. And I didn't take it serious. I didn't take any, even though I know that a lot of this is legitimate. I still had to learn the hard way, right? And I think I did take it, right? I did take it as an excuse to not come home. I think that's kind of how that started. I think that's how I got the runaway charges to originally first start. Was he told me not to come home if I was fucked up. I just happened to be fucked up for like 2 weeks straight, so I just didn't come home. you know, that's kind of how that worked. And I honestly did. I honestly did. Was like I was out there, I was drinking, I was partying, I was, taking shrooms and just all types of dumb shit. So yeah, I wasn't coming home like that. But one time I did want to come home. I didn't have anywhere else to go. I was drunk. I was drunk and high. And I had figured that he had left my bedroom window open. Like, or I had left my bedroom window open. This was a trailer. It was a trailer house. So I had my bike. All I had to do was take my bike, put it against the side of the trailer, step up onto the bike, slide my window open, grab the blinds, right? And I'd pull the blinds up just enough where I could slide in, and I would just, you know, bloop, just right up over the fucking windowsill, and I would front flip onto my bed, and I was home free, right? So I come home and I did that. I put the fucking bike up against the fucking trailer and I jumped up there. The window was open. I slid in and I reached up and I closed the window and I got up and I put a fucking knife through the door, the doorway, the door jamb so that nobody could come in. And I laid down. And I remember I had the music playing a little bit and I remember it was I think it was I don't remember. I remember. Yeah, I think it's something else. But I had music playing, and I pass out. Right, I pass out on the bed. At some point, I woke up, and I woke up. Felt like maybe an hour later, hour and a half, 2 hours. I don't know. But I woke up and I couldn't breathe. Not only that, I couldn't move like at all. I couldn't breathe. I couldn't move. And I'm laying there. I'm like just straight up, like laying like in a fucking coffin position. And I go to try to sit up and I can't, right? I'm like, whatever it is, I feel a completely even amount of pressure across my entire body. It's not like somebody is on my chest, right? Like I can't move my head, I can't move my chest, my arms, my legs. It's completely even. It's evenly spread out across me, whatever it is. And so I'm like, I try to sit up and I can't. So then I try to say something, right? I'm thinking maybe my dad is in here and he's like on me in my fucking on my bed and holding me down or something like that. I didn't know what to think, but I go to say something and I can't. All that comes out is a right, like that's all I could do, right? I can't do shit. I can't do nothing. But now I'm realizing I can't breathe either. I can't take a breath. I can't let my breath out. And so I'm literally laying there. I can't move. I can't breathe. I can't move my head, anything. And the shit starts to spin, right? I can see enough from the my JVC MXG80 had like a really elaborate display bar when the music plays, and so it lights up the room enough that I can kind of see. And my perspective looked like the room was fucking spinning, right? And I'm like, whatever this is, it's choking me. It's choking me. I'm about to fucking pass out. I'm like, I'm going out. Like, it's literally, I'm like falling. I'm fading out right now. And then all of a sudden it lifts. And when it lifts, I shit you not, I know for a fact I felt my body rise up out of the bed. Like there was visibly like 300 pounds on me. And when it lifted, like my whole body and the bed, we rose up with whatever pressure was being pressed down on us. And with that, I was able to take a full fucking breath and I was able to move and I immediately sat up and I at the same instance, I jumped up and I landed right over by the fucking door and I flipped on the light switch and I grabbed the knife out of the door jamb and I turned around like I don't know who's in here with me. I don't know if it's my dad. I don't know if it's somebody else. I don't know. But I'm tripped the fuck out at this point, right? Like I don't know what the fuck that was. But I know I didn't fucking what do you call it? Like dream that. That I didn't illusion hallucinate that. You know what I mean? Like I know what I felt. Something felt really fucking unwelcoming here. That's exactly what it felt like. I wasn't wanted here. Something didn't want me in this house. At least not in the shape that I was in. So from that point on, I stopped. I stopped coming into that fucking house when I was under the influence like that. And yeah, I caught a lot of runaway charges because of it. If I wasn't going to be, like dead sober, I wasn't going to be in that fucking house. Just straight up. Let's see what we got for comments here. Grey Wolf Media, good to see you. Damn. I gotta go get a battery. Get some fucking juice up in this piece. Yeah, Joe Sag, you're right about that. You are right about that. All right. So, something fucking chokes me in my sleep. When I was under the influence, on blitz, I had a guy on my rugby team. The guy's cardio was insane. And he credited it to some kind of ritual like that. Yeah. Yeah. Appreciate you sharing that. No problem, Kenley. Salute from Pacific Northwest. That's what's up, Craig. Salute right back to you, brother. You have to go through a storm to get to the other side. It's not simple as calling your spirits, and they're there to help. You might take you out instead. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's not like it's like they're pleased to be at, anyone's beck and call, Yeah, sleep paralysis. It was really happening. Yeah. Sounds more of like a protection. We'll continue. We will continue. Let's see here. Damn. Well, okay. So, anyways, yeah, no, it was a trip, right? But I never forgot what that felt like. I never forgot the sensation of something attacking me. That wasn't sleep paralysis. Like I wasn't alone. You know what I mean? Like that wasn't. I know what sleep paralysis feels like, and it does. It's definitely very disconcerting on its own. But I mean, maybe a lot of people don't. They probably don't. But I know what it feels like when something doesn't mean you well. You know what I mean? Something didn't mean me well right there. I felt it. Like I know that there was something there, and I felt its intentions. It didn't want me there. That was very clear. Oh, how you doing, buddy? Push you up like that. Now, where's your finger? Where'd you like the finger? This might be a wrap. You might demand to be fed right now. We'll know in a few seconds. Now, where was I at, anyways? That's crazy, Grey Wolf. That is crazy.
Yeah, I was saying that, we know, I knew what it felt like when something didn't mean me well, right? Well, after that, every so often, something would start attacking me in my sleep like that. It was kind of like clockwork, like literally like clockwork. Every couple of years, I would wake up and something would be trying to, I want to say it was trying to catch me slipping. It always started to, I started to understand it would always start to settle in when you're between falling asleep, between being awake and that, that like deep sleep, right? It's like a frequency. And there's something about traveling between the frequencies of being conscious and unconscious that are windows for energy, or things that are made of energy to fuck with you as you're passing by on these levels. You know what I mean? So it's like that's the best as I can explain it. I'm obviously no expert in the paranormal, or talking with spirits or anything like that. This is just as best as I've been able to understand it myself. And it always happens. It always happens when I am literally falling asleep. Something starts to creep. It's this weird, it's this weird sensation that always starts at my feet, and it starts to kind of creep forward from the feet up, right? And once I started to recognize it, I started to like chase it away, and literally I would jump up. I remember being in state prison one time, and it started to try to creep up my legs, right? It's a paralysis that kept trying to settle in, but it kept waiting for me to fall asleep. And I didn't know what it was. And I told it, whatever the fuck you are, I don't know what you want. Stop fucking with me. Like I was getting pissed, right? Like I was, it was just, it was annoying me. And, and then I would start to doze off again. And then it would come on even faster, right? Before it would kind of slowly creep up the legs, and they would maybe get up to the calf and maybe up to the knee, and then you would like kick your whole legs and shake it off, and then but it would come up, right? It would come up all the way up to like the hips, and it's like a sensation that makes you want to like not do anything and let it happen, but at the same time, there's a part of you that's like, you can't let this happen. Like whatever it is, if you let it completely consume you, it's like it's over or something. I don't know, right? Like I've never let it completely, you know, completely take me over while I was like conscious of it happening. But I just know that every time I felt it happening, I had to get up and I had to shake it off. I had to completely wake myself up and protect myself, right? Like they can't get you when you're like awake or whatever. So this started to happen every few years in different ways. It would catch me, just different times. Sometimes these would be accompanied by nightmares. The nightmares would always be, I would be in a house. I was in a house. The house has a lot of like weird, oddly shaped windows and doors, like too many, like too many fucking windows and doors that are like into the same rooms. Like this isn't like it's like a fun house. It's a madhouse, and I'm being chased through this fucking madhouse by something. And for a long time, for a few years, I never got to see what it was. I just know that something was pursuing me through this house. It was a recurring nightmare. And eventually, it got close enough at one point in time for me to recognize that not only was it something, but it was also, I guess, on some level, I knew it was an old woman, if you can call it that, which is what basically, which is basically what that thing is on Insidious as well, right? Is that what the name of the movie is? Insidious? Yeah, with the astral projecting kid and stuff, and the dad that used to know how to do it and then stopped, and his kid started doing it. It's like that, right? It's like some old fucking decrepit looking woman is chasing me through this madhouse of a nightmare. It started. It started to worry me. you know, like with this happening every few years, ever since I was a young teenager, I started to really want to know what the hell is going on. So finally, I had come up with the plan to buy the Ouija book. My buddy Chippewa, who was with me in Beaumont, had showed it to me. He showed me a catalog that would sell it. It would sell it to us. And so I had him order it. And when it arrived, he handed it to me. And I asked him what was like what was a good way to make sure that this book would have like a real effect, right? And he said you could put some of your blood in it. And I'm like, just anywhere or what, And he's like, nah. He goes, bring me. He goes, bring me some of it. Bring me some of your blood or whatever. And he goes, and I'll say some words and I'll put it throughout the book. Just every so many pages, every so many key pages. I don't know the numbers he used. I don't know if numerology was involved or not, but I went into his room one day. I brought the book. I stabbed myself with a fucking paperclip. It was a sharpened paperclip. I squeezed my fingertip onto something that he was able to dip a dip something in, and he went through and he said some fucking weird shit, probably some devil worshipping ass fucking prayers or something, and he pressed my blood through the pages throughout the pages of the book, and I took it from there. And I had that book for a while, right? It sat in my property for a long time because we ended up, you know, having the whole stabbing incident in Beaumont, and I ended up going to SMU. And I did get when I went to SMU, it's some time before you earn the right to have all the stuff that's in your property. So it was like 5 6 months before I was able to see all the stuff that I originally had. By then, I didn't have a celly, and I didn't have a celly, and Halloween was coming up, and I figured that would be a good time to open that book and see what would happen because I wanted to know if something was attacking me, if something is attacking me. Not only that, is it the same thing every time? Is it what I suspect it is? Like what do they want? How did it start? you know, like Like what? Just what? I don't know, right? Like we're just bored. We're in there fucking bored. Some of our ideas probably aren't smart. Probably aren't. Yeah, they're not smart. They're probably not smart at all. So Halloween came. Halloween night. I waited till what was it? Did I wait till 3 in the morning? I don't remember. I'd be stupid as fuck if I did, right? I think I waited till midnight at the very least. No, I don't think I waited for the witching hour. I think it got dark. Yeah, they shut the lights off, and we got like a night light that stays on because I'm in SMU. I'm in a 23-hour lockdown program by myself, right? You would think that you're in an institutional cell in the middle of a super fucking secure building. There's no way that you could get creeped out in here, right? You would think that, right? Man, that was probably one of the most rude awakenings I'd ever had. When you greet it, you open the book. It's a book that's about this thick. It's literally like 2, 3 inches thick, and what it is it's the alphabet in 1 through 9, or 1 through 0, or 0 through 9, repeated over and over throughout the entire book, right? So you'll have a couple pages, not a couple, you'll have pages that'll say yes, no, maybe, hello, goodbye. Then it has a big A on one side and then a B on one side. And then, flip the page and then it'll say C and D. You flip the page, E and F, like that. So that's how the book is made. It repeats the alphabet like 20 plus times, right? It's just this big, thick ass book. And what you do is you fan your fan your finger through the pages and you stop randomly and you open the book. Whatever it lands on, whatever letters on the left and the right side, you write it down. And after you write so many, after you do this so many times, you wait to see if there is a response in there. That's how you do it. And like I said, I've messed with this book before. You open it up and it just opens up to random shit and it doesn't spell anything. You can look, you can hope, you can wish. That shit don't spell nothing. It just doesn't, you know. But when you fucking open the book and you're like, "Is there anybody there?" And it's like, "Bam, hi." Oh, that's a fluke, right? You close the book. You fucking fan through it again. Zzz. You stop. You open it up again. Hi. Well, what are the chances of that? It won't do it again. It definitely won't do it again, right? You close the book again, you fan through it again. You open it so far away from where you just opened it. It says it again. Hi. Then you get that first little chill, first little bit of goosebumps that starts to go up the back of your neck. You get this lightheaded sensation and this ringing starts to come on from very far away. And all of a sudden it's like this lightheadedness and you start looking around like something's weird. you know Something is weird now. It's odd. It's like charged in here or something. And I remember asking it, is anybody here? Are you male or female? I start opening the book. I wrote down all the letters and the numbers it was giving me, and it said it was somebody here and that they were a female. And I think I asked it if it was good or evil. Yeah, I think it told me it was good. Now, it's spelling out responses back to back. There's no misfires. There's no like odd number. There's not like an odd letter in or anything like that. Like I'm not like stretching this shit. It is spelling out straight fucking responses back to back to back to back. And what really started to fuck with me, what really fucked with me, because it did start to wig me out. And I was like, this is too much. Like I threw the book, right? And I was like, let's get this over with. I was like, I asked it, I said, are you good or evil? I think it said it was good. And I said, do you know when I'm going to die? And it said, yes. And then it spelled out a date. It gave me an exact date. Like I said, I don't remember what it was. And then I said, what from? And it said, beef. It literally spelled out beef, Beef. I said I would die of beef. And I uh, I think I told it. I was like, I convinced myself this was stupid. I shouldn't, I shouldn't have fucked with this. And I was told that to make it go, you have to make it say goodbye, right? You have to say, okay, um, this session is over. Goodbye. And you have to open the book as many times as it takes for it to say goodbye back. That motherfucker refused to say goodbye. Not only that, but that motherfucker started counting down. It started counting down on me. It was like 9. I closed it. I opened it up. It was like 8. I closed it. I opened it up again. It was like 7. I closed it. I opened it up. It's like 6, 5, 4. And I was like, what the fuck is this thing doing, man? I threw the fucking book. I didn't want to fuck with it no more. All I wanted to see was goodbye. That was it. And this thing was counting down to me for whatever reason. And yeah, man, that shit was crazy. It was fucking crazy. Yeah, I fucking I got it to say goodbye, and I immediately gave that book away. I told somebody, "Hey, man, this thing's legit. I just got wigged out over here by myself." That's how fucked up prison is, man. If you want to see, like, you see some people OD out of that unit because it's got the strongest heroin, everyone's gonna run down to that unit on the next move. I guarantee you. Hell of an experience, man. Hell of an experience. Not something I would recommend for anybody out there. Highly unrecommended. Yep, highly unrecommended. 420, good to see you. Kenley says, I have to pray. It's crazy. I have had shit like this after my mom died. Legit a crazy woman, and she was fast as fuck. Yeah. I wake up and feel like I escaped, King Solomon had to find out once who was the mother of a baby. Both mothers were swearing it's her kid. His judgment was cut the baby in half and give each mother half. Was he right? Jesus Christ. I don't know. That's rough. It is rough. Yeah, 420. I'm just continuing the story from earlier, what I was telling everybody about why why we got there, right? Why I had a Ouija book that had my blood in it in the first place, and why I would have the need to do something like that, right? I was worried. I was worried about something that was pursuing me in my dreams since I was 13 years old. So for about the better part of 20 years, something has been fucking with me, chasing me. Um, and it's the same thing. I haven't seen it in a long time. Not in a long time. The last time I was attacked by it, I remember I was still in SMU. Yeah, I was still in SMU. And White Bear. White Bear was my Sally at the time. And White Bear is very spiritual. He's very, very strong roots in native spirituality. And in my moment of fear, it was my faith in knowing that he had faith. He believed in what he believed in. I was an atheist for the most part, right? I didn't really have a connection or a I wasn't really on talking terms with any creator at that time, right? Which is kind of a scary feeling when you are being pursued and dabbling with dark darkness, right? Dark things. And this thing had attacked me again in the middle of the night, paired with the nightmare, and I woke up thrashing. Right, well, as soon as I was able to move, I kicked up and I jumped up, and I remember whatever it was, it had been getting closer. It had been getting closer and closer to me in my dream, until finally I was able to determine that it was even an old woman, whatever it is. And I don't mean like an old woman, like a 50-year-old woman. Whatever this thing is, it's got to be old, old, hundreds of years, right? And it just looks like, or gives off the feeling of like an old woman. That's why Insidious wigs me out. Insidious wigs me the fuck out. Because it's an old woman who pursues him in his dreams. That shit felt like it was right up my alley. But yeah, so that night something fucking attacked me, and I wake up. White Bear's my celly, and I tell him, I'm like, this is like the first time he's ever seen me like this, right? Like he's never seen me jump up in the middle of the night ranting and raving about something that he can't see, But he was a good celly. He was a good dude, and he was a good celly. And he understood that whatever it was that was happening, I believed in it, right? I believed in whatever it was that I was worried about. So what he did was he immediately jumped up. Well, this is like 2, 3 in the morning or something like that. Usually you got a celly that wakes up screaming and hollering, punching out the air or whatever. You're probably just gonna be like, man, fuck you, go to sleep. You're gonna roll over. You're gonna fuck. I mean, we're in jail, you know. But he jumped up. I remember he jumped up. He got up. He grabbed some sweet grass and some sage and stuff. He burnt the sage. He made he, like I think he sung a song or something like that, and he smudged me down. And with the ash that was in the fucking the from the sweetgrass and the sage, he took the ash on his finger and he drew a cross on my forehead. And I tell you what, man, that like completely eased all my fucking fears, dude. Like it was my faith that he believed in these things that allowed me to lay back down and go to sleep, because like I felt pretty like defenseless against this shit. Like how do you fight this stuff? How do you not worry about fucking running into this shit? you know and so he did that, and I remember laying down and I slept like a fucking baby. Like I believed I was protected, And I probably was, you know, if I'm being completely honest, I probably was protected. And that was really like the last time. That was the last time that I think I actually remember being attacked. It's been about 7 years now, 6, 7 years. Yeah, it's crazy shit, man. Life is crazy. We don't and can't explain everything out there. Not always. Oh no, 420. I'm just actually just I'm always up at this time, waiting for him to wake up so I can feed him, and just normally never jump online. I'm usually like gaming right now, or cleaning up and shit like that. But everybody else is asleep right now. Now, one mother knew it wasn't her baby but chose to kill the baby. Nothing to do with King Solomon's decision. That's why you have a court of appeal. Yeah, that's pretty true. That's pretty scary. 420. No faces. That's definitely weird. Tara T. First and last time I ever used an Ouija board just spelled out Lucifer. Oh hell yeah. Yeah, that is. There is a lot of power in names. That's why even I knew that when I used the Ouija book, I knew enough to not ask for this thing's name. There is power in names, and that's simply because what's going to happen if somebody says your name? If I say Tara, you're going to be like, right? It's going to draw your attention. And that's literally like the one thing you don't want to do. Well, for one, is contact the dead. But then you learn the thing's fucking name, right? It's like that's the one thing everybody does is, do you have a name? You give it more power by saying its name now. And that's probably like there's not enough people out there that are knowledgeable in this, that like it's like I don't know. It's crazy that these things are sold in stores for as like toys and stuff, you know. Yeah, I don't know, Joe Seg. That's pretty crazy. Yeah, Tara, spiritual attacks are scary. They'll make you question. They'll make you question life, right? Yeah, that's crazy. Yeah, yeah. If you don't want to know its name, you don't want to ask the thing its name. They'll want to tell you it, but it's better off not knowing. Not unless like the exorcisms, right? The exorcisms, they have to get its thing's name. They have to trick it into telling them its name. It's necessary because there's power in it. That's why. So therefore, if you don't know what the hell you're doing, you don't need to be knowing these things' names. You don't need to be calling them. The only time you should definitely need to know their names is if you're casting them motherfucker out. Yeah, Tara. I guess there is some perks to being native, right? And growing up around paranormal shit. There's some perks to it. How's everybody doing though? Who we all got in here? Yeah, 420. You've had them for as long as you can remember. Yeah, that's crazy. Spiritual attacks and dreams and shit. They're a trip. They are a trip. Do you want to hit the vape? Glenn, good to see you. I have been going for an hour and 15 minutes now. We have discussed quite a bit. You're definitely going to want to start this one from the beginning. Well, we're glad to have you here, Tara T. I'm usually not the channel that discusses spirituality and stuff, but I guess there are enough stories in my life to be able to discuss it here and there. It's not off limits, right? This channel is not a prison channel, it's my life channel. I've just spent a lot of time locked up, so Cyclips, you too. Have a good night. Grey Wolf, you're Ojibwe, that's what's up. Joe Sig, you're right about that. I've met some people that said they didn't do it. Man, it's always crazy to consider that. Yeah, Glenn, you're gonna have to start from the beginning. It's a good one. It's more of like a spooky Friday Night Live kind of thing. Grey Wolf, you study these things, huh? Yeah, I've definitely spent a good portion of my life wondering about. I mean, it's literally made me question existence, reality, um, religion, because let's say let's say I am super native, right? Super Native American, and I only believe in what's real to me, what's real to us, right? We don't have angels and demons and demonic possessions and stuff like that. We don't have those types of things. We have good spirits, we have bad spirits, and neither one of them are like neither like there's nothing that exists that shouldn't. You know what I mean? Because everything has a purpose. Everything is in balance. Everything exists in pairs, right? Everything is an opposite and equal reflection, light and dark, cold and hot, good and evil. Like these are the one and the same things, but different degrees along the same spectrum, right? Just opposite ends. So everything in this life naturally comes in pairs, naturally made, I guess you could say, right? And so nothing, we don't have things running around that need to be like cast out and sent back to hell or anything like that. Like we have like tricksters, right? Trickster, coyote, Iktomi. Like this would be technically our version of like demons or poltergeists or whatever like, but they're not even bad intention, right? Because they serve a purpose. They serve their purpose, and yeah, it's to make bad things happen sometimes. But even in the Christianity and Catholic, ideologies, the existence of Lucifer in himself. You know, he's not like the villain. He serves a purpose. You know, there's a reason that it happened. He serves a purpose for what he does and the whole grand scheme of things. You can't just suddenly do away with it and just not have it exist. You know, it's kind of fundamental. It's literally fun. You have to know what bad things feel like to appreciate the good. I get asked that a lot, right? I get asked that a lot by viewers, people out there, everyday people. They say, well, if everything happens for a reason and all this and that, and then there's, you know, there's lessons and every bad thing that happens, and why do bad things happen? You know, why are old ladies, you know, why are old white ladies great? And, you know, why do babies die in the cribs and stuff, you know? And it's like, these things don't happen before their time. They're not happening before God plans it. You know, these things are all happening when they're supposed to, unfortunately. Nothing is, you know, it's like you're trying to think in terms of a God, right? You're trying to think in terms of a God. You're trying to understand their their will for life and death. I don't think that's just in our wheelhouse. I think that's kind of above our pay grade. But like where I was going with that was that we don't have possessions. We don't have demons. We there's certain things that I have experienced in this life that I can't explain with my own religion. You understand? And that will throw you through a loop, right? When there's things that you have to consider that are real from a belief system that isn't your own, that you have to go and learn about something entirely different that exists in an entirely different set of religious beliefs, then it's like, okay, well, if some of that is real, what about this over here? You know, how much of that is real? And if some of that is real, what about this one over here? Like they can't all be bullshit. They can't all be wrong, you know? Like they can't you don't think there's actually like a pantheon of forgotten gods fighting over worship and adoration in a coliseum somewhere, you know, like actually moving us around like chess pieces and trying to see who can last the longest with followers and likes and shares or whatever. You know, like are you just saying they're up there cloud chasing too? That can't be it, right? It's like, what if nobody, obviously there's some fucked up religions out there, but like what if nobody's wrong? Nobody's all right, but nobody's all wrong either. What if there is a God out there that created unique things to every area of people, their own religion, their own beliefs, their own language, their own creation stories, their own apocalypse stories. They're all very similar, right? We all have like a great flood and a great fire, and we all have giants, and we all have a lot of shit that all kind of correlates in a way that they shouldn't over thousands of years in a way that none of us could have ever coordinated. How do you explain that? How do you explain a lot of shit out there? Not like I said, I've gone down a lot of different rabbit holes in my time. And I came to the conclusion one day that they can't all be wrong and they can't all be right. We don't have it within us to understand the motives of a God. I think it's hilarious that we would even attempt to do so. But I do know that yeah, everything happens for a reason. Nothing happens before it is supposed to. Nothing happens before it's time. It's deep shit. Too deep. Too deep of shit to be contemplating on a Saturday morning, especially before especially before I've had my Saturday morning cereal. Let's see who we got here. Kenley Ferd says, I've seen out of body details. I think I was overdosing and roaming around, but I came back. It's hard to explain, but it changed me. No, I believe it. I believe it, Kenley. I've had an outer body experience myself, and I also came back and was never the same. Yeah, that is crazy. 420. Dreams are definitely something that people need to be paying attention to. Kenley, he was on dope for several years. Yeah, I think all of us have dabbled in our life at some point here. Yeah, it does. It does make you grateful to be alive. It makes you grateful for a lot of things, surviving really messed up situations. Yeah, you're absolutely right, Taro. There isn't enough time to learn everything ourselves. There really isn't. We have to have really a generational, our attempt at life is generational. It's not just, the 50 or 60 years that you had a run at it, right? Because what is the point of accumulating and refining your experience and how you interpret this world, if not to pass it on to somebody so that they may do it better and more effective than you ever did? You know, what would be the point? Because you could have that whole experience and come to all these great, really great revelations and lessons, and they die with you. Then what? You know, it's a waste. It is a waste without the ability to pass it on so that others may reflect, so that others may advance with less strife and struggle. Hopefully, you set your kids up to do the same. You teach your kids to advance in areas that you got bogged down in. Joe Six says, if you're a part of a group or tribe and a crime has been committed, why are you guilty of what someone did in it? I believe that's guilty by association, isn't it? Tater Tot, good to see you. Yeah, I mean, RICO laws are just something else, man. They're just a convenient catch all for everybody that is just giving them problems, and they don't want to take down individually. Yes, Gypsy Spitter Spirit, the key to all religions is know thyself. Yeah, I can agree with that. This is Danny Treyu. This is Glenn says, we are all connected somehow, even if it is not realized in our lifetime. You're absolutely right. But that's a little deep. That's a little deep for the average person. I have my own suspicions that we are all energy. And if we are all energy, then we are all connected. The idea that we are all just a separate entities experiencing life through our own perspectives is a lot more less likely when you start getting into the ideas of like collective consciousnesses and shit. Like, it's pretty crazy shit. Kenley says, I think we are all called to a real God that makes sense to us and end up finding truth. Yeah? On a sick one, my boy. Everything happens for a reason. God resides in your senses. Are you saying senses? Like spidey senses? Before breakfast. Tater tot. Yeah, I was spinning back through on everybody and describing to them why I felt it necessary to decorate a Ouija book with my blood and contact whatever was there to contact on Halloween night. And it turned out to have to, a lot of backstory was required to make all that make sense. Yeah, a lot of backstory was required, but we are well past 2 hours for this live. I'm definitely going to wrap it up right here. I appreciate everybody kicking it with us this Friday night, early Saturday morning. But y'all have a good night. You ain't got to go home, but you can't stay here.